Hey everyone, how's it going tonight? My name is Spencer, and this is Cory, and welcome to Best Ball Draft Addicts. Tonight, as we move along closer to the NFL draft, inching closer by the day, we are going through rounds 15 and 16, continuing our Dominate series here as we kind of talk about and give all of our initial thoughts on players. Cory, before we jump into tonight, I was going to ask you real quick, what have you heard about the potential inevitability of A.J. Brown going to the Patriots?
It's just like no one knows anything. I feel like it's how I feel about this whole like mock draft season and everything. I saw a thread earlier about Todd McShay and how much he's flip flopped on the Jets picks in the last week, and it's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, Schefter came out and said it looks like it's a done deal, but it won't happen until after June 1st. But so it's not official technically. If there's a wide receiver that's available to the available to the Patriots that they don't expect, or so nothing's done. But as of right now, it's expected that it's going to happen, but it has to be a post June 1st so that the Eagles can split the cap hit over the next couple of years, like the dead cap hit that they're going to take on for trading him over 2 seasons instead of taking it all this year.
Well, so pretty much, let me just ask you this. Moving forward as we draft, are you just drafting expecting A.J. Brown to be a Patriot?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I mean, like I said, technically it could not happen, but it's probably I don't know what could. I'm sure there are circumstances, so just keep in mind, bake that into it, I guess. And same thing with like your coinciding moves, your Devontae Smiths, Dallas Goederts, all of that stuff. Just kind of bake that in just in case. But I think it's safe to draft, assuming that that's going to happen.
Well, and then the other thing that I wanted to say, because you sent me this earlier today, but apparently Alec Pierce is hurt now. But he should be back before it really matters before the season. But it's just kind of an interesting thing.
That was because it's the what was alarming to me was the 3-month timetable. So he's gonna miss pretty much the entire offseason program. It's not like it's a new system or anything. He knows that, but I guess maybe it's like a playing shape thing. And then how confident are we that he's going to come back and be fine? So I don't know. If it were me, I maybe would knock him down a little bit, ADP wise, but I'll probably be. I was already so on him, but
on the
yeah, a little more now. I'm a little more going to be a little more cautious.
It'll be interesting as we move along into the regular drafting season starting next week, where his ADP lies compared to these early drafts. So yeah, it'll be, if he dips, that'll be more of a buying opportunity, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, before we dive into tonight's group of players, you want to go ahead and talk about our partnership?
Yeah, of course. So if you haven't heard, or if you haven't been on, or it's on our Instagram account as well, but we are very proud to partner with our friends over at Underdog. So if you are a new player, this is only eligible for new users. When you set up your account, you can use the promo code BBDA, Best Ball Draft Addict, and that will get you after you play your first $5, then you get you $50 in bonus entries. There is a specific link that you can click that's in the bio on our Instagram account, and it's on our YouTube channel as well. If you use that link, then that'll populate the promo code, so you don't have to enter that. It does all the work for you. So very excited to partner with them, and yeah, good stuff. Would really help us, support us.
Well, appreciate it. All right. Now we move along to the players. Okay. So this group tonight is incredibly interesting because...
Spence, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
What jersey are you rocking right there?
Carson Palmer.
That's what I thought.
Yes, sir.
I think that was another one of mine that I got.
It was that or Ocho
like a Pro
Cinco.
Image. I think it was a Pro Image one.
It's from Pro Image, there's no doubt.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
So the group of players tonight. So we only have one quarterback we're looking at in rounds 15 and 16. We're going to be talking about 6 running backs. The majority of tonight will be discussing wide receivers. And then there's an interesting group of 5 tight ends in the push tight end 3 range that we're going to be talking about tonight. As you can see, there's only a couple potential stack pieces from this, but one of the most enticing ones is right at the start. Adonai Mitchell and Geno Smith. That's a good wide receiver and quarterback combo that you could double tap in the 14-15 range. There's 2 Raiders wide receivers, Jalen Nailor and Trey Tucker. We've got a couple of Texans, Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell, and then 3 Titans in this range. Anything that as you look at these players that sort of jumps out at you want to talk about, or ready to just jump into the first one?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm ready to just jump in.
All right. So first up, Adonai Mitchell, now of the New York Jets. So Adonai Mitchell is incredibly interesting to me. Someone who was just stuck in a nothing situation with Indy where they kind of wanted nothing to do with him, didn't ever play him, give him targets. Things were looking really bad, like he was going to be a draft bust. And then thankfully the Jets came a calling because they needed some sort of warm body at wide receiver when Garrett Wilson went down. And Adonai Mitchell was really very productive for them in his time. So one of the many podcasts that I listened to throughout the year, both on YouTube and on podcast platforms, is the School of Scott. I don't know if you have ever listened to that before, but so this guy Cory, he wrote one thing that he really focuses on is separation, and he has separation score, and he always talks about, this is before Adonai Mitchell, for the last 2 years he's been talking about how Adonai Mitchell is one of the best wide receivers in football at creating separation, and that's something that stood out to me. And you know what, he looked pretty good with the Jets. This is one we talked about last year as a guy that, if he has a low price, we'll probably buy in for some best ball drafts. And here we are. And I think this is a low enough price to buy in. So what do you think about Adonai?
I really liked his profile coming out of college. He's an athletic freak, crushed the combine. He ran a 4.3. So he was a very exciting prospect, but it was one of those that as we got closer to the draft, I think there was some off-field stuff, like maybe some immaturity, but he fell on draft day. And a lot of time, like, us as the common folk, we're like, what are you talking about? This guy's awesome. But the NFL, I mean, they usually get it right. I mean, yeah, for every one of your Amon-Ra St. Browns, there's a million Terrace Marshalls. So NFL usually gets these right. And so Adonai Mitchell going at the end of the second round proved to be accurate. The guy, his drops have always been his issue. Just makes bonehead plays. It's just like Colts fans will tell you, some of the dumbest plays you'll ever see, literally costing them games. So it wasn't a surprise whenever they made the Sauce Gardner trade that Adonai Mitchell was kind of a throw-in. But yeah, he looked good in New York, and they believe it or not, Geno is an upgraded quarterback, I think from where they were at last year. I think at this, when you're getting at this point, it's dart throws, it's lottery tickets, and why not? The Jets could go receiver in the first round or with one of their picks, but even if they do, I still think Adonai Mitchell, there's plenty of, we've said it a million times, it's a great format, best ball for a guy like him.
100%. And that's exactly what we're doing here, because Adonai Mitchell's not someone that I could see picking up to play on anything. Unless, of course, we, God forbid, got another Garrett Mitchell injury during the year, and then who knows?
Garrett Wilson. You got baseball.
Oh, I said Mitchell. I did. Yeah. Garrett Wilson, yeah. So take a look here at his draft. It's been pretty steady, I would say, after the initial kind of where it settled, it rose some, and then it settled again. So I like where we're at here. All right, and then now the man who will be throwing him the football, Geno Smith, back with the New York Jets. So like you said, he should be an upgrade from what they have. And for him on a personal
low bar to clear, but yeah.
Well, he could not. He is coming off of his worst season as a professional starter. It was just, it's hard to say what all he's to blame because it was just such a bad overall situation with the entire team last year in Las Vegas for Geno. But now he's moved to the Jets, which is always, that there's always going to be drama that surrounds them too. I am going to be in on clicking his name though as a late QB3. I already have done it. I can foresee doing it again because at least I do think there's a chance for some spike weeks. And if Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall both stay healthy and stay on the team all year, I think that they could probably force Geno into some relevancy.
Yeah, definitely. We know that he can support fantasy options. It's just last year is just God. He could not stop throwing interceptions. The only reason, and yes, I think he's a perfect candidate for that late QB3 if you were at the end of a run or something like that, and you gotta I gotta have somebody. He's barring if they do draft Ty Simpson and switch to him midseason, if they don't draft a quarterback or spend significant draft capital on a quarterback this coming weekend, Geno's a rock solid QB3, to be honest, because they're not going to bench him. I mean, if it's not working, who cares? They're just going to play for next year, get another top pick, and it should be a much better quarterback class. So yeah, I think he has a pretty long leash.
And guess what? That matters for your QB3 because whenever you drafting a QB3, what do you want? I will tell you as a drafter, you want him available for later in the season to give you an option for the playoffs, especially to cover your bases if one of your better quarterbacks is hurt. So, yeah, I think that's an important point to note. All right, now let's look at what Geno's draft season has done. No surprise here. As soon as he went to the Jets, it saw a dramatic turn upward because before that, everyone knew he wasn't going to be the Raiders quarterback again. So it makes sense that before he went to the Jets, he was cratered down low. All right, Corey. Next man up, Calvin Ridley, veteran wide receiver of the Tennessee Titans. Calvin Ridley has always been an enigma for fantasy owners, hasn't he? I mean, literally,
that's one way to describe it. That's one way to describe it. But yeah, I'll tell you,
like seriously, we all have our Calvin Ridley horror stories or rare successes over his career. But one thing I'll say, last year we were right back in that mix of he seemed like a great draft buy, because he was in a good situation where he was going to get a lot of targets from the number one draft pick. And then he gets hurt in week 4 or 5, misses the rest of the season. And that's that. All right, thanks, Calvin. So, this year, now he's going into his age 32 season. Is Calvin Ridley someone that you're going to buy in again, just knowing that you're going to get hurt once more?
God, I mean, I'm ready to be hurt again. No, the thing is last year I finally was out on him. Everybody was, he on paper he was supposed to be the, obviously the wide receiver 1 in Tennessee, and it's a rookie quarterback, bad defense, all the pieces lined up. Just something wasn't sitting with me. I don't know. Something about it, and so I stayed away. Which I admittedly never did before. I was 2 years ago, his 1 year with the Jags, I was all over Calvin Ridley. He was my guy. In Atlanta, he burned me in Dynasty, but I was a big Calvin Ridley guy. And yeah, I guess, yeah, sure. Oh, there's a comment. But yeah, Calvin Ridley, he's sure at 172. Why not? I don't think it's not a bad thing. He's clearly probably should be the wide receiver 2 on the team, but I just don't see myself clicking his name a ton. But again, at this ADP, so many of these guys, there's other guys I like more here, but I don't know. You could do worse.
Yeah, you could do worse. All right, and Chandler, you said, so do you answer Dynasty questions? Well, just right before we went live, literally 2 minutes before we went live, Corey called me. He's like, hey, I got a dynasty trade question for you real quick. So yeah, if I have something come up, a trade offer, I'll usually call Corey, get his thoughts. So yeah, we bounce dynasty questions off each other all the time. So go ahead.
I actually just made the trade.
Go ahead and
we got it done.
Oh, you did.
Yep.
Nice. What was the final trade there?
Gosh, let me double check. Okay, wow. The initial trade that I told you, and he's countered with the Jacobs thing, and I said that's still too rich. I think we're getting close, but and then he actually countered. He's like, you know what? The last offer you sent, I actually will do it. I was like, see, that'd be silly.
Tell us what it is. What is it?
Okay, yeah, it's a big one. So I traded. These are all 2026 picks, no future picks, but I traded the 112, the 109, the 309, the 404, and the 512. So 5 total draft picks. Christian Watson, Ricky Pearsall, AJ Barner for Teteroa McMillan and the 101.
So love. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to process, but it like when anybody talks about these kinds of, like, for me, like, this was a startup that we did last summer. I ended up winning the league, and I actually came out of there with, I didn't really have to sell anything. So I have a lot of draft picks to burn. Because in addition to the 101, I still have I think I have the 204, and I actually still have a second, third, and fourth round pick, actually, even with dealing all of that.
Well, good for you. Pin a rose on your nose, my friend. All right.
Thanks.
So Chandler says, would you trade Olave and the 2-4 for BTJ, the 1-7, 1-11? Let me give my thoughts on that before Corey, because I think Corey is going to say, yes, absolutely. Lock that in 100%. So as far as the picks are concerned, you're getting the 2-4 back. There's the way I look at it, there's not a ton of difference there between the 1-11 and the 2-4. So there's really, what I would say is you're looking at Olave for BTJ in the 1-7. Depends on what you think about the 1-7 in this draft class, because by the way, are you wanting to get, it's a 12-team PPR. Go ahead and clarify real quick. Are you wanting to get Olave in the 2-4 or get BTJ in the 1-7, 1-11? Because really it just all depends, I think, on what you think of BTJ. Because right now I love Olave. I think I would do Olave for BTJ in the 1-7, but I would maybe ask for one more pick back, make it be a 2-pick. He's getting BTJ. So with you be the one that's getting BTJ, the 1-7, the 1-11, I would just probably go ahead and do it, because if you were the one getting Olave, I would maybe ask for one more pick.
Yeah, I would smash that. I'm a BTJ guy, admittedly, still, but Olave now could be the perfect time. If New Orleans drafts at the 8th pick, there's a chance they could draft a Jordan Tyson or a Carnell Tate or even a Mekhi Lemon. So then Olave, he'll still obviously be the number 1 there, but he'll have a lot more target competition. This time last year, though, it's like, I've said it about Chris Olave. I love Chris Olave, the talent. I was so happy that he had the bounce back season that he did. But this time last year, we thought he was a ticking time bomb with the concussions, and that's why he was going so late. So, my opinion, I think this is a great sell high.
BTJ last year in Dynasty at this time, his stock would have been,
sure,
probably a 2nd-round pick in a fresh Dynasty or something like that.
It could be a sell high, buy low situation with the receivers. But for me, the difference maker is the picks, in that you're getting 2 for 1 in this draft, where I don't anticipate. Now, we need to see landing spots first, but I don't anticipate there to be a ton of depth. So once we're getting to, you said 204 is a 12 team, so we're looking at pick 16. I mean, is there really 16 guys that's going to come out of this draft class that you're going to be overly excited about? I'd rather have that. I'd rather have that 7, especially, and then you move up 5 picks with the 111. Yeah, that's a smash, except for me.
There you go. All right. moving on to the next player, Isaac TeSlaa of the Detroit Lions. This is also an interesting dynasty guy because what's his value right now versus what's his long-term value is very different. But for Underdog, we worry about what is his value today for this upcoming season. Chandler, you're welcome, my friend. No problem. You got it. Now, for TeSlaa coming up this year, I don't see his situation being any different than last year, which is he's a good end zone threat and he's going to get some occasional touchdowns, but good luck getting any sort of volume that will count even in the weeks that he gets a touchdown. Will he even factor for your team? Because it might be one catch for 8 yards and a touchdown, so that's kind of where we're at right now. I think that if God forbid something were to happen to J-Mo or Amon-Ra.
Don't you even
but if they did, then that's when TeSlaa could open up and he could, turn into a good pick. But if you want to take him, that's kind of what that's the reason why is you're doing it. I wouldn't do it with Amon-Ra. Well, I guess if you're doing a Lions stack, but ultimately I would say your best bet is to take TeSlaa on a team without other Lions as a wide receiver 7, 6 or 7, and just hope that the situation I talked about happens where one of them gets hurt and his role expands.
Yeah, it was interesting that the Lions, they essentially traded, I think it was like 2 third-round picks to take TeSlaa, and he definitely flashed some crazy upside. It's just there's a lot of mouths to feed. I don't hate this, like as far as this ADP, and this is again the format to take a guy like this because he's going to have spike weeks. Now, I don't know if it's league winning spike weeks. Like you said, it's like usually a catch or 2 for a touchdown. So there's others, ceiling guys, other spike week guys I'd probably rather have. But yeah, it just with there being Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Gibbs, and Laporta, I mean, it's just there's not going to be the volume ever.
Yeah.
Unless barring injuries, multiple injuries.
But that's why I'm like, for Dynasty, good stash for the future. But for this year, probably won't happen. As far as his drafters have been concerned, he's seen a steady rise, which is kind of interesting. I get it because I do think he's really good. Again, it's just all about the potential for what he can.
Yeah, he's a fun player.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, another fun player, AJ Barner, a tight end who last year was only his second season, but he kind of came out of nowhere because I really wasn't looking at him as any sort of relevant piece. But he emerged into a very solid tight end with Sam Darnold. Good piece, good red zone piece. And I don't see that changing. I think that AJ Barner is a good pick to click, regardless of if it's a Seahawks stack or not. You going to be in on Barner, Core?
Yeah, half PPR. He finished his tight end 14. That's great, especially if you're getting him. If he repeats that, though, he drafted Elijah Arroyo last year in the second round. So you thought that maybe that he would be the emerging one, but AJ Barner flashed in his rookie year, and then last year was great. He even won me some money in the Super Bowl on the touchdown that he got. So I'm a Barner guy. I did just trade him, but I have a million dynasty shares. But yeah, I really like him a lot. I think that this is if he continues to build that chemistry, I think this is an amazing value. He's going to be one of my favorite tight end 3s.
Yeah, very interesting.
If not my favorite.
And as far as looking at drafters, his stock has gone down, which is good for the buying opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing that.
Yep.
All right. Next up, man, one of the Fantasy Hall of Famer. I think we could call him a Fantasy Hall of Famer. And Tyreek Hill, those days have come and they may have gone. If it's for good, that's what we're going to find out this year.
Pour one out for him.
So I never even watched the video of his injury last year, Corey, because whenever it happened, I was actually in the other room and I heard on the TV, and then I never wanted to look. And
Spencer doesn't do gross stuff. He doesn't do gross injuries.
So I never saw it, but I heard it was terrible. And
it was really bad.
And the thing is with Tyreek, if Tyreek comes back and plays this year, is he going to be able to be a shell of what he was? I hope so. But someone's going to, I'm sure, sign him. And then we're going to probably have to wait a few weeks into the year to see him. Is he someone that I'm going to draft? I probably am going to have to mix him in with some occasional shares, but it's going to be very low, even for a high volume drafter like me. I just cannot see spending very much capital on him on my teams. I'm maybe a 4, 5 to 8% exposure guy out of 100 drafts. That's the most I think I could go. Do you have any desire to draft him this year, Corey?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'll mix in shares because we do so many of these. But yeah, it's hard to really expect to get much from him even in the first half of the season. It could be a back half, maybe he starts to kind of return back to some performance, and it also depends on the landing spot. A lot of people like to say he's going to go back to the Chiefs, and he 100% wants to go back. You can tell in his social media, but it all just depends on if once we get out of the draft, if they have an open spot for him or anything. So draft with caution, try to look past the name and just think like you got to be willing to take the pros and the cons. So if it were me at this ADP, I don't blame you. I'm going to click on him sometimes, but it's not one that I'm probably going to be too crazy on. I wouldn't say double digit exposure. At least I don't plan on it.
Yeah, I mean and again, this is I do all of my whenever I talk about percentages, just to make things easy, I say think of it if you were doing 100 drafts, because obviously exposures are skewed if you're doing 20, 40, 60 drafts versus if you're doing 400 or 500 or whatever. So based off of every 100, I think 4 or 5% is probably a healthy number. All right, and then as far as his drafting has gone, drafters this offseason, dramatic decline the entire time as people just get more and more worried about if he's going to even play. And I feel that I'm over 50 drafts in now from this pre-draft slate, and I think I clicked him once or twice so far. So
he's like the biggest concern that I had was that he by his own admission, I think it was like late January, early February, something like around there. He still hadn't even had the LCL repaired yet. He had the ACL. He had a ligaments torn in his knee, but I think he was still. And which I heard that's not super uncommon, but. That doesn't mean like he's behind schedule necessarily, but it just shows how bad the injury was.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Mr. Jalen Nailor. Now
Nailor.
There it is, of the Las Vegas Raiders. Bada bing, bada boom. Glad I got it in there. Okay. So Jalen Nailor is a guy who really has not done much for his career, but he's popped an occasional good game here or there for the Vikings over the last couple seasons. Last year, not so much because the Vikings were such a disaster. Really, 2 years ago was, from my memory, you might pull me up and check me on this, core, but I think 2 years ago is where he kind of had a mini breakout. Now this year, going to the Raiders and moving into a pretty decent situation where we could, I think that we could expect a decent amount of target increase from what he's been used to, maybe even potentially a wide receiver 2 or 3 level of targets. I think he's worth throwing in. I'm going to be into mixing in some Nailor shares and see what he can do at the Raiders, but I don't have high expectations.
So 2 years ago, 2024, actually he put up almost identical numbers. In 2024, he had 28 catches for 414 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's the one that stands out. And then in his follow-up, he caught 29 for 444 and 4 touchdowns. So he had 30 more yards, 1 more catch, but 2 fewer touchdowns. But the big thing for him, and the reason he's still being drafted where he is the Raiders signed him to a 3-year, $35 million deal. They gave him $23 million guaranteed. That's real money. That's a guy they want to be on the field. So it's not a sexy name. It's a name that I think people liked last year because of the offense he was in, and there was the suspension of Jordan Addison. So 6 touchdowns 2 years ago is not nothing. I'm not in on him really. He's a speed guy. He's a downfield guy, so definitely could be spike weeks. There's some week-to-week upside potentially. So again, best ball, good format for that. But I'm not in personally. I'm just not a Jalen Nailor guy. It doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah, and he's seen, of course, the big rise up since going to the Raiders. Yeah, like I said,
Yeah, he would be if he was still in Minnesota. I don't even think he's drafted in an 18 round, maybe in a 20. So the fact that the only reason he's even been with Minnesota, the only reason he's I think even getting this ADP is because he did get paid. So I don't blame people for drafting him. I mean, follow the money.
Yeah, and I will mix him in. Now, one of my favorite tight end targets for the last 5 years.
So crazy. It's so crazy to see his name here.
And now here we are again, thanks to the pathetic situation for the Vikings last year. You got to think that this is a good buy low opportunity for TJ Hockenson, who still isn't even 30. And we know tight ends can be productive well into their 30s. So I think this is a good buying opportunity to mix in some late Hockenson shares as your tight end 3. But as we talked about earlier with Barner, this couple of rounds, there's a lot of interesting tight ends here. So I'm not going to be looking at taking him every time because I am going to be mixing in some of these other names. But Hockenson will be one that I will buy back in on.
Yeah, this is exactly why whenever I look to push tight end, this is the reason. TJ, the offense was an absolute disaster last year under JJ McCarthy. So hopefully, the hope is that Kyler is going to bring some stability and can get this offense back on track. Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed, but he's still a top. I mean, he's not even 30 yet. So I think he's a definite bounce back candidate. And I don't think he's going to put up the numbers he did with Kirk Cousins a few years ago. Big top 5 tight end numbers, and he's always kind of been a spike week guy, right? Too. So, but I love this ADP for him. And this isn't even a name thing. It's just, I will take the gamble on him. I wouldn't, if you told me that he's my highest exposure, him and AJ Barner at the end of the draft season, I wouldn't be shocked.
We'll watch that play out as the summer moves along. And his value is now at ADP is now 169. It has risen, and that makes sense too, as more and more people kind of click in the fact that we are going to be experiencing the change in the offense this year with Kyler.
Yep.
All right. Next up, a very interesting running back, Tyjae Spears. So someone whose relevance could be completely gone as of a few days from now, depending on what happens in the draft. But as we sit today, he's an interesting piece, someone who we've seen pop off for some spike weeks over his career, but really have a hard time staying on the field and doing much of anything other than the occasional spike. So for regular leagues, you just can't play him. For best ball, he's barely returned value. So he's not someone that I'm looking at grabbing right now. If Jeremiah Love does not go to the Titans, they still may go get another running back of the mix of rookie running backs. So it's hard to say there's going to be a lot to draw me to Tyjae Spears. Is there anything that I'm missing that you think should lead us to draft his name?
No, we know what he is. We know what he's going to have some weeks. And even if they draft someone someone that's not Jeremiah Love, obviously, and dump Tony Pollard, that's when I'll be a little more in because this rookie class that's coming in there's not a ton of guys that are ready to hit the ground running, and definitely outside of Jeremiah Love, there's no bell cows as of right now. That remains to be seen, and I wouldn't call Tyjae Spears a bell cow, but he would if Pollard's out, if they cut him loose, go with a rookie, then he would be the 1A in a timeshare, I would imagine. But I would say, I think I might have mentioned this on the last stream. Draft with caution these next couple of days if you're going to be drafting. Because if they take Jeremiah Love, I wouldn't say it's a wasted pick, but you're not taking Tyjae Spears until probably the last round or two.
Yeah, you do bring up a good point though, because I was having a hard time trying to foresee the potential return of value. Where that could come is, yes, if they draft a lower running back in round 4 or 5 rookie, get rid of Pollard, and then Spears is more of a split time primary / back secondary role with a rookie, that's where I could see him actually being worth the click. But it also helps bring up the point of, in football, fantasy football, things can change like this. Value changes like this. During the season, you can have a guy who you never even heard of or completely undrafted that at one injury happens, all of a sudden, boom, he moves right in, and he's one of the guys that you're spending all your fab on for the next week. So that's just, you just have to be willing to roll with it, ride the waves, and understand that don't get too set in on your priors when situations change. Because as much as I can say I'm not looking at Tyjae Spears, if that situation changes, I got to be able to pivot my mindset in the next couple of weeks to say, oh, I do want him now. So don't get too dug in on an opinion way or another when you're drafting.
Yeah, and by the way, if they decided to cut, he's an easy cut candidate. Where, I mean, he's a $9 million cut. I mean, granted, there's not a ton to use cap on right now, and I don't know, their cap situation's probably great, but they would free up $7 million in cap. It's only a $2 million dead cap hit, which is nothing. So they could easily move on from Tony Pollard if they wanted to.
And Taj Spears' draft season has just gone down, down, down. Which again, that's not a bad thing especially as far as buying opportunity goes as we move along in the summer, but we will see. Next up, Dalton Schultz, one of the tight ends that you brought up last time that had over 100 targets last year, one of the 8. And Dalton Schultz is someone who, ever since going to the Texans from the Cowboys, really has not done anything for fantasy owners that really has helped you out a ton, other than provide some low floor. But last year he had some good games, you know what I mean? But really, with CJ Stroud and that offense, what can we expect this year? He's not someone that I'm going to look to click on, I'll be honest with you, unless I have a Texans build going, in which case then yes, I will mix him in. Or once later on, this is something we'll talk about later, Corey, because it's something that I have done a ton over these last couple of years that you've not really worked your mind around yet, but you will this year, I promise you. And that is really digging into playoff week matchups and drafting based off of matchups in the playoff weeks. That's something that you can overthink, but it can also be a really good edge. We'll get there once we know the schedule and into the regular drafts. But my point being, those are probably the only times I'm going to look to mix Schultz in.
I would push back on you saying about him you kind of downplayed his season last year. Like, do you know where he finished half point PPR last year?
I mean, it was probably decent, but I will say this, as far as weekly, because I was looking through his weekly scores, he didn't really do much more for you than, provide somewhere between 8 to 12 on any given week. He just did that pretty consistently, so it added up. And don't get me wrong, that can matter. It plays. I'm just saying, as a tight end 3, it plays. It's just, I would rather have Hockenson, Barner, or maybe some of these ones behind him who I think have the potential for a bigger spike upwards.
So he finished tight end 11 in half PPR, tight end 10 in full, but 82 catches for 777 yards and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, the touchdowns isn't amazing, but 82 balls. I said on the last stream, there were only 8 or 9 tight ends that had 100+ targets last year, and he was one of them. So I think that it's a very boring pick, but CJ Stroud still trusts the guy. And I was in on him last year as my tight end 3 a lot, and he's about the same. And so I'm 100% okay clicking on his name. It's not boring, but if you push tight end and you need a tight end 3 that won't kill you, or, last year Jatavian Sanders, I took a lot. And I wish I would have taken Dalton Schultz instead of him, because Jatavian Sanders gave me nothing, and Dalton Schultz would have given me 8 to 12 points a week, which would have mattered.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great point. So it's really all about what you're trying to get from this.
It's all about your build. It's all about your build.
Yep. All right. And then as far as drafters is gone, let's take a look at his. It's pretty steady. That's kind of to be expected. Didn't expect to see much changes with Schultz one way or another.
Yeah, I couldn't let you slander his good name.
No, that's okay. I'm glad with the putback because again, yeah, like honestly, it really is about expectation management. If that's what you're expecting and that's what you want from him, then maybe he can return that again.
Yeah.
It's just to me, last year was kind of a best, like everything kind of fell into place for that season to happen for him. So I look at that as like his best outcome. Whereas like this guy, for instance, Mr. Tank Dell, the next man up, his teammate, who will be back this year. It's just a matter of when, not if he will be back. He set out all of last year. Also, this was an injury I never watched. Again, I was watching the game when it happened. I looked away and I never did see because I didn't want to see.
Chiefs.
So, but
he was lighting us up in that game too. Just absolutely decimating us.
Tank Dell is a guy that I'm a huge fan of. I loved watching him play in the time that I got to before his injury, and I really am hoping to get to watch this guy again this year because he's exciting. You see, I got explosive playmaker, and that is what he is. He is explosive. Now I hope he retains that explosiveness. This is to be seen coming back from the injury, but he's only going into his age 27 season. He's had a full, it'll be almost a full year and a half or so, I would say, maybe close to 2 years since.
Yeah, it was December of 24.
So it will be almost 2 years by the time that the season comes along. And even if he misses some time to begin the year, let's just hope he comes back. But my point being, I think that Tank Dell helps illustrate what I'm talking about, where Jaden Higgins could have an expanding role. I just think that there's a chance that Schultz had his best potential outcome last year. As far as Tank is concerned, I will mix him in way more often than I will mix in Tyreek Hill. There's no doubt about that. They're both similar injury risk returns from the same round.
Dalton Schultz has finished tight end 11 or better in 3 of the last 4 years. So again, this Dalton Schultz slander makes absolutely zero sense to me. Tank Dell, I'm out. I hope just for him personally, I would love if he came back and did what he did, but he wasn't even that good 2 years ago, though. It's the Chiefs against me because I was all over. As soon as Diggs went down with the ACL, I was like, Tank Dell, trying to get every bit of Tank Dell that I could, and he still wasn't that good. And that maybe even not only him, CJ Stroud has regressed. So I'm not only is it probably could be a low scoring offense and a low passing offense, but then you couple in that he is little bitty and hasn't played in almost 2 years. I'm probably not going to do it that much. I think I'd rather take a gamble on someone else, and it's one I'm okay being wrong on.
Well, and I guess, yeah. So if I was to put a percentage number to it, I wouldn't want to be more than 10 to 13% total, and out of 100. That would be even pushing it. Probably he's more of like
I'll be a sub 10%.
Yeah, like 8 to 10% guy is probably a good spot for him. Yeah. All right. So this is what his draft season has gone. It's just gone down. Sure. Again, the lower he goes, the more that I'm willing to click his name. Just look at whenever I made the sheets here, his ADP was 178. That was at the beginning of April. You notice now it's 190. So it's just continuing to dip. All right. Now we enter the last player of round 15 before we move on to round 16, Dylan Sampson. Now, Dylan Sampson is someone who I personally really like putting in as my RB6. I've already done it a lot. I plan on doing it a lot because I see a lot of potential for an expanding role, even if Quinshon is healthy, but because I think that he could be the third down passing guy, even with a healthy Quinshon, and potentially just getting some more looks because of Quinshon coming back from injury himself. He's also going into year 2, right? They were both rookies last year. The Browns are not a fun team, but they, again, as we talked about, bad teams that should be down a lot, maybe could have a lot of junk time. Junk time can, equal more dump offs.
They still had a good defense last year.
They did have a good defense. They did, will they have that good of a defense again? I don't know. Maybe I guess we'll see. But I'm in on him. Are you in on Sampson?
Yeah, why not? like you said, I think he has standalone value, even with it's not one of those like just pray that Judkins doesn't return to performance or whatever. Like Dylan Sampson definitely flashed. He was a really nice like I think if Dylan Sampson was in this year's draft class, we were talking day 2 pick easily, and he might even have been the probably second or third best prospect in this class. He just went day 3 because it was such a deep class last year. He's got the passing chops. He's a great option for third down, which I'm assuming is how they'll use him. So I think he has definite standalone value.
Yep. So, and then as far as drafters, he's moved on up.
Yeah. Yep. It's a good buy. I know you've been pretty high on him, and I think that's a good buy.
Yep. I like to call Sampson.
Go to Sampson. By the way, I didn't tell you. I play Call of Duty, and they do, kind of like the Fortnite thing where they have a million of those packs that you can buy and stuff. They did a half-baked one.
Oh, wow.
And it was what was Dave Chappelle, the rapper Sir Smokes a Lot or whatever it was.
The one who did the commercial for Call Sampson.
Yeah, Sir Smoke a Lot. It was, but I just randomly today, I was like this evening, I was playing and I saw a guy running around in like this big yellow puffy coat, and I was like, Sir Smoke a Lot, and sure enough, it was. And I guess they launched something that you could buy, and so I've been seeing a lot of it. And so every single time, it's I want to talk to Sampson.
That's funny.
If you haven't seen Half Baked, go watch Half Baked. That'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, who's coming with me, man? Who's coming with me? All right, Trey Harris of the. Every time I find myself fighting, say Los Angeles Chargers or San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, so Trey Harris, really a rookie who didn't do much of anything in his rookie season, but I think both Corey and I think could have an expanded role coming into year 2, assuming Keenan Allen doesn't re-sign. God forbid.
Stay away. Go my Lad McConkey shares already. Yeah.
By the way, is Keenan Allen going to sign some? I'm assuming he's not done. Yeah, he was good last year. So
he looked good last year. Yeah. Again, a lot of these vets that are just hanging out there. We got to wait till after the draft.
Yeah, just don't go back to the Chargers, Keenan.
Please don't. Just go away.
So, as far as Trey Harris is concerned, you going to click his name much this year?
I have been. I for whatever reason, I have ended up with a lot of Charger builds. It's just kind of where I've been picking and how my teams have looked. But yeah, I really liked the talent last year. I think he was being overdrafted. I think just some people get really excited about these rookies and they tend to get overdrafted a lot. And Trey Harris was one of those. Yes, Keenan Allen kind of prevented that path, but I think everybody just assumed Quentin Johnston stunk and that Trey Harris would just usurp him because they have similar skill sets. But I actually really like Trey Harris at this ADP. I think that in this offense, which I expect to be much better under Mike McDaniel, offensive line, get that healthy and fixed. I mean, if they can keep the offensive line healthy, the sky is the limit for that team. And there's enough passing, there'll be enough volume to go around to get Trey Harris involved, much more involved. So I love clicking. I've been clicking on his name a ton.
Yep, and I definitely don't think that that's going to change as the draft season has moved along, which kind of like his ADP has stayed very steady.
Yep.
Though, if Keenan Allen signs there, we're going to see a big dip.
Like, dude, just go away.
Let's just hope that doesn't happen. All right, now another reason why I have a hard time drafting Dalton Schultz is because I would rather gamble on the upside of Eli Stowers today, right now. That hope that he goes to a situation that we might see another breakout rookie tight end. Last few years, we've had multiple breakout rookie tight ends. This is a thing that used to never happen. Now it happens almost on the regular. So what do you know about Eli Stowers, Corey? Is this someone that you're going to look at drafting?
I'm sure I'll have some shares. I'm probably not going to go too crazy. So he should be a day 2 pick. very athletic, like super athletic, crushed the combine. I think he ran a 4.5. So it like high 4.4 or something like that. So it's super athletic. The thing with him is he's not a blocker at all, just does not inline blocks. He is, for all intents and purposes, a big wide receiver. And I know for fantasy, we think that's a good thing. The issue is that limits the amount of snaps he's going to be on the field. The best comp or the best thing, like Dalton Kincaid, very same thing where Dalton Kincaid is very athletic, very like with athletic tight end, great pass catcher, doesn't block. So and yeah, I know injuries has been a problem too, but a lot of people expected him to just be this basically big receiver for Josh Allen. And the problem is he's just Dawson Knox is on the field probably just as much as he is because he's the better blocker, and that matters. So that's just my hesitation, is that I'm concerned it is going to be a Kincaid situation type thing where he's just not going to be on the field enough to give us that fantasy value. But again, when we're talking ADP 183, it's worth a dart throw for sure.
Yeah, and that ADP is steadily rose a little, but it's pretty much stayed kind of very interesting after that spike. It's kind of stayed right where it's at.
It was the combine. Yeah, so that's right around the combine. Yeah, I mean, he looks great at combine, athletic freak, and will be a day 2 pick. It just, like you said, landing spot is going to matter a lot.
Yeah, that'll really determine on how much higher he goes, because I don't see him going much lower. If anything, I think we're at the lowest point he'll be of draft season right now.
Yeah, it would have to go somewhere where he's behind. I don't know, like someone that's say it's the Chiefs that take him this year. Like then Stowers is I'm gonna be worth just about nothing. But Dynasty to the moon.
Yep. All right. Now, Sean Tucker of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this guy now is, as we sit today, he has a very similar role to what he had the last 2 years behind Bucky and Rachaad White, because Ken Gainwell is now the new Rachaad White, probably a improved version of Rachaad White. Bucky's still there. Sean Tucker's value lies in if Bucky is out. And we have seen for each of the last 2 years, Sean Tucker spike running back 1 for the weeks where he has had monster weeks out of nowhere that if you picked him for DFS, he could have won you a lot of money. But for a seasonal standpoint, even a best ball standpoint, it's been 1 good week, maybe 1.5. So he really is someone that you probably aren't going to get anything from. And once we move into the regular draft season, where I'm probably only drafting 5 running backs instead of 6, like I'm doing right now in these early 20 round drafts, I don't see clicking Sean Tucker a ton, maybe occasionally, but I won't do it. I don't think I will ever do it on a team that I have Bucky. Some people will want to, because they will want to handcuff that. But like we've talked about, I think you're hurting your team's individual chances for success. You need to kind of have them on teams where it's an anti-Bucky build, where you kind of hope that Bucky gets hurt on the teams you have Tucker, if you draft him at all. So probably maybe a 4 to 5% guy total for me.
Yeah, the only way you're going to draft him is, or like people would be drafting him if they're going, 0 RB here. I don't even like him for 0 RB. I think there's a lot better options. It's just the path. If you need 2 injuries to happen before you are relevant, no thanks.
He doesn't need 2. He doesn't need 2. He just needs Bucky, because
but even then, Bucky was missed half the season last year and he still didn't do anything.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. Bucky did miss a good amount of time last year, didn't
he?
And they just gave Rachaad White more work in that. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. So really, there's probably not a ton of ceiling. Just if you do have him, who knows? Though the one thing I will say is that if you have him on a team and he has another for 3 years in a row, if he has another week where he finishes as the number 1 running back of the week, and it happens to be in the playoff weeks of weeks 15, 16, or 17, and you have him and other people don't, that's where, but again, that's just wish casting, right? So if you do it, it's just probably not going to happen. But that's where
he did
that's
have
the reason
yeah. He did have 7 touchdowns last year, which I'm assuming is why he's even being drafted right now. And which that 7 touchdowns is not nothing. But it really was, he went over 42 yards rushing twice all year. And that's it. So it's all touchdowns, boom or bust. And
that's what those other touchdowns, those are just like random goal line touchdowns. And then what's it for the game? 20 yards. So he's not even scoring you 10 points.
And if there's anything that you can take away from this at all, whether it's best ball, whether it's any other format other than DFS, I guess, but don't chase touchdowns. Do not do it. Don't try to predict it. Don't chase touchdowns. It's not worth it. They're fickle. You'll never know. So don't chase touchdowns. I'm not a Sean Tucker draft. I actually like the guy talent-wise, and I thought he was one of my late dynasty dart throws, like on the free agent wire last year. I like him as like a stash, but not in this format personally.
All right, next up, Brian Robinson Jr. Now,
is that Brian or Bijan
of the Atlanta Falcons? It's Brian.
Okay.
So I made these pictures here where I found a picture of him from last year and then went in and had ChatGPT change the jersey, but he wore number 8. So it just made him the number that he had. So
yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if Brian, is he going to be, because that's going to be so
I don't know what number.
BJ
I Googled it. I actually Googled it to see what number he was going to be with the Falcons, and I couldn't get I don't know that they've announced it yet exactly, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
So Brian Robinson Jr., someone who I've really liked since he came up. I've been a fan of drafting him. Last year, he went from the Commanders to the 49ers to be the backup for McCaffrey.
15. He's 15.
Oh, he will be 15? Okay.
Yep.
So he was the backup for McCaffrey last season. And as McCaffrey's backup, he did absolutely nothing. Because why was he going to be on the field on a team that has Christian McCaffrey who stayed healthy? So now he's going to another identical situation where how will he be on the field with a team that has Bijan other than look at what they've done with Tyler Algier. And if he assumes the Tyler Algier level of role, we could still have some value for him in best ball, even with Bijan staying healthy. So is Brian Robinson Jr. someone that you're willing to click on now that he's moved from the 49ers to the Falcons?
Yeah, I think at this point I am, especially seeing now it is a new offensive system, a new regime, but it's Stefanski and he's always had a multi-back system. So I can't imagine it's going to be super frustrating. Brian Robinson's going to be public enemy number 1 for a couple of reasons. Every time a touchdown is scored by a running back, you're going to look for that junior on the nameplate. But yeah, so thankfully it's 15 compared to 7. So at least you could see the numbers. But yeah, I think he has standalone value, but I think if he's your RB5-6 in a 0 RB or hero RB build, I'm actually okay with that. He'll get on the field. It's gonna happen. I mean, I think it's definitely worth it. This ADP, I actually like it.
Yep, he's in quite a bit more than Sean Tucker. It's actually not even close.
No way.
Brian Robinson pretty much always over that. And as far as drafters are concerned, look, he's already moved up 10 spots in ADP since the beginning of the month. No surprise there.
Market's adjusting.
And I do think that as the draft season moves along, he's a name I'll be willing to click all summer.
Yep.
Now we move to another name that's kind of similar to Sean Tucker, although I think this guy's better than Sean Tucker, but similar in the fact that how much work can we expect Tank Bigsby to get if Saquon stays healthy? He actually had some decent games last year once he went to the Eagles, even with a healthy Saquon. So I'm not saying he can't get any work or provide any fantasy value here at the end. I think it's possible, but I would rather take Brian Robinson. It's kind of that simple. There's a couple other rookies that I would rather take. We're about to talk about one coming up here a little bit later. Nick Singleton, who we'll talk about later. I'd rather take the gamble on him than I would tank Bigsby. So I just don't see clicking tank very often, and I won't add him to Saquon teams because, again, I don't want to handcuff in best ball. So I just don't foresee clicking his name very often. Am I wrong about that? Am I missing something?
No, I don't think so. I think the only argument that I could even make is that he'll have a full off season in the system, I guess. And it should be a much improved system too, because they fired their much maligned offensive coordinator. So they at least it'll be a new regime. Maybe he gets a little bit more of a role because they're gonna maybe try and save Saquon's legs here and there. So there's a path to him having, outside of his obviously Saquon injury, then Tank Bigsby maybe to the moon. But yeah, I think as of right now, like he's fine as your wide receiver or as your RB5, RB6, but there's some better names out there.
See, and this brings up a good point because, like I said, things can change in a heartbeat, and then value can drastically change. Let's say Saquon, God forbid, tears ACL in summer workouts. Where do you think we're drafting Tank now? Probably fifth, sixth round, maybe.
I was gonna say probably in like the 7, 8, 9 is what that just initially, because we don't know what the plan will be. Because Will Shipley has never done anything, and like really he's been more of a special teams guy. Same thing with Tank Bigsby too. But at least we've seen Tank Bigsby do it. Like,
point is, there's a chance. Yeah. There's he. The reason why to draft him is he does possess that opportunity where with that one injury above him, where his value could drastically shoot up. So again, I would take him, mix him in as a final running back on some non-Saquon teams, and just hope that maybe it works.
And might vulture some touchdowns here and there too. So yeah.
All right. And as far as his draft season's gone, it's pretty much stayed steady. So 184 now, it was 185 a month ago. So we're pretty much right in line. All right. Next up, a veteran wide receiver who has changed homes once again. We've got Darnell Mooney of the New York Football Giants. So Darnell Mooney is someone who has always been really good at the long shots down the field. But last year, he couldn't even find any in Atlanta, right? Yeah, Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so will that change? Hopefully. I mean, he's got Jackson Dart now. He's a piece mixed in here where I would like to think that with the pieces that the Giants will have, he could be able to stretch the field and Dart could shoot some down to him. So I think he's a worthy name to mix in here, but not someone that I'm like, oh, I've got to add Darnell Mooney, but I'll click his name.
Yeah, in the Giants build, sure. And 2 years ago, he had a great year in his first year in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. He went into the season last year injured. And then really that Falcons passing offense wasn't grabby. He was obviously way behind the pecking order behind Drake London. But yeah, Mooney had a great year with Kirk Cousins 2 years ago, but he hasn't found that same success since. And obviously they cut him loose. So I actually like this ADP for him. I think this is a great landing spot for him. And, especially depending on how long it takes Neighbors to get up to speed. Wandale vacated a ton of targets. We'll see what the Giants do with their draft picks. There's a ton of smoke around them with linked to Jordan Tyson. So if they take Jordan Tyson with a top 10 pick, I am much, much lower on Darnell Mooney. But as of right now, I do like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, role situation could change in a heartbeat. This is a very similar pick here. Christian Kirk, another veteran wide receiver who I do view very similar to Mooney. I kind of have over the last few years. Love his situational upgrade, going from an abysmal Houston Texans offense where he just did nothing and wasn't a part of it at all to the 49ers where he actually could do something now this year. I went from wanting nothing to do with Kirk to, I'll draft Christian Kirk. And will I take Christian Kirk over Mooney? Yeah, I will take Christian Kirk over Mooney. So I'm going to click his name. What about you?
He proved he still has it, at least at the end of the year, with that, not fantasy playoff game, actual playoff game. I think that was against the Chargers, maybe, but or no, it wasn't against the Chargers. Whoever it was against, he went nuts in the playoffs, had a huge playoff game. So yeah, I've always been a sucker for Christian Kirk, and I think that this is a nice landing spot for him. And like you said, in San Francisco, it's not going to be. I can't imagine he's going to get a ton of volume, but there's definitely going to be spike week. So I am 100% on board with as my wide receiver 7, Christian Kirk. I'm going to click his name.
Yeah, when we're down here in these rounds and then our next show, which by the way, we didn't say, we'll say at the end, but just to remind everyone again, but we're going to go on tomorrow afternoon and we're going to wrap up this Dominate series with going through round 17 and 18. So that'll be probably somewhere around 1 tomorrow, but we'll get that posted for everyone tomorrow morning. But what I was going to say
is Pittsburgh, by the way, real quick. It was against Pittsburgh in the playoffs, and he had 8 catches on 9 targets for 144 and a touchdown.
Yeah, that is very nice. Very nice. Great success.
Oh, very nice. I like it.
All right. Next up.
Worst.
Chimere Dike. So Chimere Dike, a wide receiver who made the Pro Bowl as a special teams player. But you know what? That matters. He had 2 kick return touchdowns. Well, guess what? That's 2 extra touchdowns that count for fantasy returning kicks. So that's 6 points. Now, the thing with DK is I don't see a super high ceiling. With Cam Ward, we've already talked about the potential changes that could happen to their offense after 2 days from now in the draft. There's all sorts of things that could change, so we'll see. But I would mix DK in every once in a while. I don't mind to click his name. I don't see him being, again, much more than a 5 to 8% guy. But I could see, him having some decent value. He was a much better rookie return last year, rookie season, than what I expected. Last year at this time, I was hearing that Eli Manor was going to be the better fantasy option, and he was for the first 2 weeks of the year, but then that was it. And then DK took over as the primary guy, especially once Ridley went out.
And I believe, he made the Pro Bowl. So as a returner, but as a returner, but still, he definitely flashed, especially in this format again. It's not a bad dart throw, and if I expect the Titans' offense to improve, so I actually like him down here.
Yeah, like I said, he's an interesting pick. He's one that I don't think is super attractive, but worth clicking on every once in a while. And this is interesting too. I liked seeing this. A major dip in ADP. Big fall. So the lower you go, the easier it is to click his name. All right, next up, Malik Washington. As we sit today, the wide receiver 1 ? For the Dolphins. So, which is weird to say. But Malik Washington is a pretty decent wide receiver. He's mixes in with this group of guys from this list tonight that we've talked about of a very interesting pick. I would rather click Malik than I would DK. I'd rather click Malik than probably several other of these people, more than Mooney. Maybe not as much as Kirk, but that one's pretty close on Kirk or Washington, in my opinion. Because the thing is, the Dolphins are going to do stuff. I mean, he's not going into the season as the Dolphins' primary pass catcher. I would be shocked. I'll say that I would be shocked.
Well, they're rebuilding, but they're tanking. But so you never know.
Yeah, I like the idea of the Malik to Malik connection.
Yeah, if they are, it's going to be a long year for Dolphins fans. Like, with all due respect to Malik Washington, he's a nice little player. I liked him coming out of college, but he's. I do like clicking his name here because you never know what they're going to. But it's not exciting.
Look at that big Waddle gone spike right there, Core.
Yeah,
Waddle gone spike up.
Yep.
All right, a couple more players, and then we're going to jump in a draft, which, by the way, there's not many. There's only one draft for us to jump in, and I'm glad that I still have an entry. It's the little board, Corey. I don't know if you've looked and seen. But
is UDFA 3? Is it full?
It filled today, and I it was so frustrating. So I wanted to max it out. It was just a 25 entry max tournament, and I knocked out 2 early this morning, and I still had one more entry. And I was like, this morning, this was around 9 or 10. It was at 92% filled. The tournament was. And I was like, okay, I'm going to either save my last entry to see if this is still there tonight when we do this show tonight, or I'm going to see where it's at whenever I get off work and jump in. By the time I got off work, it had already filled. So I finished it with 24 instead of 25. I'm like, that drives me crazy.
Yeah. Brutal.
Anyway, David Njoku, free agent, formerly of the Cleveland Browns. I am an Njoku drafter. I have been for the last few years. I really love his talent, and I've always thought that he's going to be better than what he actually does.
Every year, just about.
But now I'm going to think the same thing because he's going to go to a new team. What if it's the Dolphins, right? I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea where he's going to go. But wherever he goes, I'm going to want to click his name right now. I think this is a great buying opportunity. He's just another one of these awesome late tight ends. And another reason why I have a hard time picking Schultz, just because I like the spike opportunity. Schultz is a better, more dependable pick. There's no doubt about it.
Well, yeah, he's on the field a lot more.
So, yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's just, I like the upside gamble, the what if, So, anyway, with Njoku, what if? Where will he go? I don't know, Corey. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, 191. Yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with taking that. If you're just banking on he goes to a good spot where he's going to get some volume. If he goes somewhere where he's, again, I hate to use but if he goes to the Chiefs or something like that, then doesn't do a ton for me. But if he goes somewhere where he's going to be the tight end one, like Miami would be a great landing spot for
him. Darren Waller, he's a guy now. He's not a thing anymore, is he?
I think he's a free agent. Yeah, I think as of right now, their tight end one is Greg Dulcich, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right now. There's he's just dipped. He's at 202 ADP now. Again, no surprise. We'll see that big spike up as soon as he signs.
Yep.
All right, move right along. We've got the second Raiders wide receiver of tonight, and that is Mr. Trey Tucker. So Trey Tucker is someone who just had a monster, just like Sean Tucker. Both Tuckers
Tucker thing
had a single spike week where they were the best at their position. I forget what week it was. You could look it up. It was early in the season. Trey Tucker was
very early in the season.
Number one wide receiver. I want to say it was week 3. And Trey Tucker then still has a role, though. I mean, and their situation is better with Cousins / Mendoza. I think that he's.
I'm sorry. It's just.
You just reminded me this game. How big it was.
1 week. Literally 1 week.
What was that week? Was it 3?
Week 3, he had 8 catches for 145 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was insane. And again, he could provide a good return this year with this low price. I'm going to be in on clicking his name. He's going to be someone I mix in. Just like one thing I like about a lot of these names is it's easier for me to kind of mark a few of them off my list because a lot of these guys I'm interested in drafting. So different teams, I can mix them in for different reasons depending on that particular build. Do you think you'll ever click Trey Tucker's name, or for you, is he someone that not really?
It'll be rare. Nailor. I don't see it. Yeah.
So let's look at what his draft season has gone. It's been spiky, but it's down 192. What was it? 190. Yeah. So he's pretty much stayed steady over the last month. All right. And then the last player we're going to discuss before we jump into the drafts, Nicholas Singleton from Penn State. So before I tell you what I saw about him whenever I was doing my little bit of research going into tonight, you tell me your thoughts on what you've heard about it, where any potential landing spots.
Landing spot, I don't know, but like super athlete though, like built in a lab type of guy. And his best skill set right now that's going to get him on the field early is being a third down back type. He's really good. Pass protection is solid. He was always nice at picking up blitzers and pass pro as a whole, and has receiving chops and elite burst. He just wasn't like always super consistent, I think. And then there was just maybe I saw there was like maybe a knock on maybe the vision or something like that. So he's not a 3-down back out the gate or anything like that. But if again, I hate to keep bringing it up, the Chiefs, Amari DiMercado is who we brought in to be our third down back, and Ken Walker. The one knock that I had on him was that hasn't really been a 3-down player in his career. So if they wanted, if a team like that takes a swing on him and he's going to get some snaps on third down, then there's value there.
Your brain is so Chiefs obsessed. It's always like, well, if the Chiefs got him, this is what happens.
I do. I'm telling you about how I have been so laser focused. That's what. So I watch draft content here and there, but I'm glued to Chiefs draft content. That's all I really care about. And because after the draft is over, that's when I'll assess everything else as far as landing spots. I'm not going too crazy on these prospects now because yes, they could. Even if it doesn't matter how great they are, they got to land in the right spot for me to care.
Yeah, 100%. This is the thing I was going to tell you that stood out to me from the little bit of research that I did watching some YouTube videos on Singleton. And that is, he's a really good blocker as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to help him stay on the field. It's going to endear him to coaches. So on top of his athletic profile. So that's just something I wanted to point out. He's a dude that's got that dog in him. So the coaches like that.
Yeah, picked up blitzes really well, and blocked his tail off like that. That'll play if you're a rookie trying to get on the field. That's how you do it.
And I was going to look and see what his draft season is gone. Let's take a look here. It stayed pretty steady, so it's at 189 now. It was at 193 a month ago when I made this. So yep. I mean, it's like I said, been right on par or right on board. All right, well, Corey, we made it.
Woo! Yeah, we did it.
We made it through 16 rounds. Only 2 more to go tomorrow. Time to jump in a little board. Thankfully, I had only done 18 entries. And so we've got this draft tonight, and then we've got 1 more tomorrow. So I'll be able to jump in because otherwise it was hard for me. I almost filled this contest because I thought the UDFA would still be there. So I'm glad I left this. Otherwise, I'd just be sitting along talking with you while you draft. But there's a couple people watching live. If anyone wants to draft with us and has entries left in the little board, go ahead and pull that up. Corey, you pull it up. And whenever you have it pulled up and ready, give me a countdown. I have mine ready to go.
Yep. All right. Ready in 3, 2, 1, enter.
Boom. All right. 8 more to start.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. All right. I'm getting this pulled up here, Corey. Okay. Now, well, we've got 6 more waiting to start, Corey. So this is what I want you to do. I'm going to go use the bathroom until I come back. I want you to tell the folks what you are wishing that the Chiefs do in the first round.
Okay. We'll see.
All right. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's a big one. So if it were me, for when it comes to approaching the draft from a fan perspective, I try to not focus on a specific player because all it does is break my heart when they don't take him. So I try to focus more on position. I want a specific position for them to address, and it's either the right player or it isn't. I don't know that. They know it better than I do. But this pick in particular, as a longtime Chiefs fan, I have to imagine that this will probably be one of the few times that we're picking in the top 10 for a while, as long as Mahomes is upright and healthy. So I would I really want them to take. They have to go pass rush or receiver, or else I'm going to be a little disappointed. A lot of people like to put offensive line. I think that would be silly. We already have 4 of our 5 spots solidified, and that 4th or that 5th offensive lineman, like sinking another huge, like expensive or huge asset into that would just be. It's not what I would do. A lot of people think it's almost, honestly, it's kind of lazy analysis that they think that they're going to go cornerback because they traded Trent McDuffie and lost Jalen Watson, so they assume they're just going to draft one high. They're not going to do that at all. Why would you trade away your best corner to go and spend your top 10 pick on bringing in another corner? Brett Veach has never been like that. He doesn't care about corner, or I shouldn't say that, but they're very confident in their ability to find corners. So, and I am too. I know they can find those hidden gems. There's other positions they haven't been great at. Offensive line and wide receiver, they have not been very good at finding hidden gems. So that's where I'm at with that. So, god dang.
Look at that. Great timing. I heard that's where I'm at with that right as I came in.
Yeah. Yep. Wide receiver, edge rush, doesn't matter. I'll be happy. There's talks that they're going to trade up with Arizona to number 3. And if their guy is there, we'll see about that. I'm not getting excited about that. But yeah, I got pick 10, Wolf. And you're 11.
This is the 3rd stream that we've done where we've had 10 and 11.
Yeah. Let me guess. We're going to take running backs.
No.
That's just what it is every time.
Hey, the last time, last time wide receivers fell to us. I think we both got.
Oh, yeah. Because it was, I think Lamb and Jefferson did actually fall on that one. Yeah. What I like about this one is I'm before you. So if a wide receiver does fall, then
you get them.
I get them instead of you. Yeah. Because there was one that I think that you were 10 and 11. The first time you were 10, I was 11, and Jefferson fell to 10, and you took him.
Corey, look at pick number 2.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, guys. Hey, the last one we did, Quinshon Judkins went number 1 overall.
I know. Our last 2 streams have had some crazy top picks. Although Josh Allen is not near as crazy as Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
At least with Josh Allen taking it there, even though I don't agree with it, because you could have done that with the 2. When you have picked 2, you could have taken him with the 2nd round. But still, from a build perspective, this is a guy who you see he's got a red shield. So this is someone who knows what he's doing. He's got some sort of strategy in mind, and we're going to watch him execute this as we go and see how it turns out. It doesn't look like it's going to be a wide receiver fall to us, but you're a pick away. So let's see what happens.
Well, so would you take Taylor or CMC over Justin Jefferson?
I mean, not necessarily, knowing that you're going to get a good running back coming back around, but that's your call. You get to make it. You give me whichever choice. So I either get the big dip of CMC, which I do, I will take that. I will take that in a heartbeat.
Sure. If Jefferson, if Taylor wouldn't have been, then yeah, like I would have gone McCaffrey there. And I actually strongly considered it, but I'm not a huge McCaffrey guy this year. He scares the crap out of me. So,
and I will draft McCaffrey every single year, no matter how scared I am, because Christian McCaffrey is incredible. So
history is not on his side.
I will just do it. Speaking of just do it, I'm going to follow our buddy Casual Chad.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Mr. Ashton Jainty here over Achan, which is someone that Achan or Barkley is what my gut would have gone.
Yep.
But I'm going to go Jainty. So Achan to you. So I know that you like Achan a lot. I like Achan a lot. But do you not think that because of the Miami situation that maybe we're just being dumb overlooking Saquon and that, such a better offensive environment?
Well, I love the bounce back for Saquon. I am all in on this ADP. I just prefer Achan. If Achan would have went, if you would have taken Achan, I would have taken Barkley over Genty.
Gotcha.
So I'm just an Achan guy, and the Miami thing. I mean, yeah, they weren't that great of an offense last year either. It's the biggest difference is going to be, will he get the receiving volume with Tua gone?
with
So
Malik.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, with Malik Willis. So that, I guess that's where, if I have any kind of hesitation, that's where it is. But no, I just love the talent so much, and yeah, it's rebuild, but they chose to keep him of everyone. They traded or whatever, and they're going to pay him. Like they've decided, they've chose to retain him, and they're going to give him big time money.
And one thing that I will say too, he doesn't even have to get dump offs, right? Achane is such a good receiver. He literally can line up as a receiver. So he, if they did bring in some other running back that could be out there, Achane could still be on the field getting good fantasy targets. Wow. So the guy at 2 is really going with an interesting strategy, taking Jaden Daniels right after. This is someone who is just trying something different, and I respect it, although I don't understand it. And man, this is an interesting draft. Look, Olave at the 212. Did you notice George Pickens went to the Lamb owner?
Yeah, and then Malik Neighbors is in the 3rd round right now.
Now Caleb's going 3 straight strong quarterbacks, but not even necessarily the top 3 rated.
Yeah, that's starting to scare me a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think we're going to be looking at a thrown out situation here, because it's not like he took, Kirk Cousins here.
God, that team 3 is benefiting heavily from that. Gibbs, McBride, Neighbors. What a start.
That's an incredible start for team 3. Mossy 94. I recognize that name from being in a bunch of drafts. So
man, AJ Brown coming up.
AJ Brown
too.
Yep. Again, we started off the show tonight talking about the inevitability of the June 1st date of him being a Patriot. So I think that most people are going to start drafting that way. Now we're seeing some really nice dips. You are a pick away from being ecstatic.
Yeah, I am. But honestly, Nico wouldn't be terrible here either. Oh, don't auto, you jerk.
That's the word.
That's whenever I see someone's call, I'm like, you're gonna auto. Dang it, he autoed the first pick too. Yeah, actually, I am gonna take Nico.
Not your boy Brees. I thought you'd go Brees.
Yeah. I mean, well, you guys, but those two. I mean, not that you guys have already taken 2 running backs too, so that was part of it. But I also I'm okay with the running backs that are on the board there.
Yeah, and the thing is, I know that for me personally, I am going back-to-back wide receiver, but I could have easily, if I was taking a running back here, it would have been Brees, because I agree it's over Etienne or Kyron.
Yeah, then for me, this guy's dang it, this guy's autoing. God dang it.
Yeah, for me,
ruins everything.
And then
I know, like that. Yeah, but this guy's gonna auto Brees. Oh no! Oh, good.
He autoed my pick of Njoku. So I will now switch it up and go with the potential of the guy who could get the big return with AJ Brown gone and Devonta Smith. But I was about to take Ibuka. I was about to go Ted and Mbuka is what I was going to do. Brees it up.
All right. Yep, I'll breeze it up. I did give strong consideration to Kyron too, though. But and how about that thing I sent you earlier about? It was on Matthew Berry's Fantasy Happy Hour, and they said they were wax poetic on Lad McConkey and how he could be this year's JSN or Cooper Kupp from a few years ago and stuff. And I said it to Spencer. I was like, "You heard it here first." I said it on our first stream.
And the second part of that video involved Devonta Smith.
Yeah, right.
All right. Now, the guy who had taken Pickens and Lamb, he went with Lamar and Kyron. Burrow went to the Rashee Rice owner right after you. So we've already seen 5 quarterbacks off the board, and we're not even to the middle of round 4. So this is definitely a unique draft, that's for sure.
Yep. Very much so.
All right. Now, as we come and get ready to come back around, so I will tell you, just as a general strategy, I do feel that most drafts, when you're drafting in bulk, most drafts, if you have a general mindset of first 6 rounds taking running backs and wide receivers, that is what can unlock your best builds. With that said, though, you know me, Corey, I am not afraid to mix in those top 6 round tight end.
This guy's about to take DJ. I guarantee pick 2 here. He's going to take DJ Moore. Guaranteed.
He should. I'll tell you that. And again, this guy is an experienced drafter. He knows what he's doing, even though he's doing something crazy. There you go.
Told you.
But my point is, I rarely will look to take a quarterback.
McConkey at the. I wish I was down there. Oh, this is just the worst time to have stupid pick 10. I wish I was down there on that end. I'm never in the top 5, ever.
Yeah, you just
actually was on the last stream. I was on the I know I was on the last stream, but I'm always in the stupid bottom 3 every time.
Well, if you were maxing out these tournaments, you would get some top ones. So.
Thank you. There, yes, I'm glad somebody brought it up.
What?
Yeah, the comment we just got.
Oh, don't forget he sniped Mahomes last time. Hurts is.
I didn't. I know. Especially with how many quarterbacks are off the board too.
Coming back to you. Let's see what falls. There you go. You got autoed again and Waddle off the board. What you doing?
I think I am going to do it.
Made that easy for me. David Montgomery, come on down.
I knew that's who you wanted was David Montgomery, but the way quarterbacks are going, I don't mind getting that one right here. You are going to have way too much David Montgomery. I already know.
Yeah, I'm sure that I will. But the thing is, I am mixing in other of these names.
When you play fantasy long enough with your friends, you start to know. I mean, you really know their tendencies. And I wish I could tell you how much that David Montgomery is a tailor-made Spencer guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Older.
But Corey, this is a very important thing. You will see this as we draft a lot this summer. You are drafting with me more this summer than you ever have. You are going to be doing more best balls than you ever have. And you will see, I am 100% willing to mix things up a lot because I kind of watch out for my builds. And whenever I'm in tournaments, if I already have quite a few David Montgomery teams, I will mix it up and I will take Judkins, or I will mix it up and I will take a wide receiver there instead. So, yes,
you don't have to get defensive. You like a type. You have a type.
No, I'm just saying though. This is we're giving advice to people, especially ones that are going to be doing a lot of drafts. And I'm the high volume drafter, so my point is you got to be willing to pivot. You can stick to your guns.
I know that
to a certain point.
I know that. This is my first Quinshon Judkins share. Yeah. But no, I especially with how this has started, I've felt more inclined. We're early, but I felt more inclined to get quarterback, at least one on the board. It just makes me feel a little better than normally. I like to push it, but especially with how this room goes, like your room dictates a draft strategy too.
Oh, 100% it can. There goes your boy BTJ to that pick.
Thank
number
God.
2.
My God.
give you a chance to take something else.
He was probably upset that Odunze went. Or, yeah. Actually, would you, with his build that you had, would you have targeted Luther Burden over Terry McLaurin?
Well, I'll be honest with you. For me personally, no. But that's just where, again, yeah, I am gonna lean towards what I feel like I know more. So would I every time? Yeah, sometimes I would take Burden, sure. But most of the time I'd probably be 60-40 McLaurin versus Burden.
And also, we're before the draft. We don't know what they're going to do at receiver yet, if anything. So, but yeah, as it stands right now, I mean, McLaurin's the clear cut, obviously number one.
And he may have been hoping that Odunze would have fell. Who knows? But okay, now we're coming back around to our 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 running backs already. So for me, I now get to push running back for a few rounds, and I'm not looking at necessarily adding another one here. What about you with having the 3 that you have? Are you feel good with pushing running back here?
I think I would like to come away with one more if I can.
Okay, well, this is going to be an interesting first decision.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm going to go down the board a little bit here because I feel like he's been going early, and I'm going to grab Mungai.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. You made this choice easy for me. I thought you might do this with having Judkins, just in case, because I do think that, if you're going to bet on Browns, those are the 2 to bet on. Just leave it at that.
I'm not going to have a lot of Brown stacks.
But I like getting Fan in there at 7-11 for my tight end 1. Now I feel good that I've got a really solid tight end piece, and I'm still going to get a good wide receiver here. Parker Washington is a very fun pick to click, but I can't help it. I'm going to stick to the well of the veteran.
I knew you would. I knew you would. That was, again, I can't stress it enough. That was Spencer 101 right there. You know what? I might just say F it and just be done with running back. I might just stick with, I don't know if I'll take another one.
You could stick with 5. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might stick with 5. I know it's a 20 round, so maybe I'll toss in one if there's one later, but I'm going to try this build and see what happens. This is the Chad build.
Yeah, it is. It is. Push, get the 2 top wide receivers and then push it.
Real good.
Push it real good.
Yeah, whenever it is, and you don't have to give me the business again. Whenever it was there, I was like, Parker Washington's there. I bet he takes Cortland Sutton still.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, my point is I will take Parker Washington this year.
Sure.
But especially in streams, I'm going to want to try to put together my favorite teams. I can mix up a lot of the change it up for off stream drafts. And this so far, I love the team that I'm putting together. I'm a big fan of your team too. I don't know what I'm going to do with quarterback. We'll see. We'll see who makes it. Bo Nix would have been an option had he made it. He did not. He just went there at 8-10.
Yeah, I think right now you just need there to not be some kind of panic run or something like that. Then you'll be fine.
And I honestly, I'll be fine either way.
I mean,
because I'll make it work no matter what.
Yeah.
If I have to push up several, later on, it won't be as worse as I did the last draft where I did push quarterback too long last time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There went Kyle Pitts and then Pearsall. So yeah, that guy at pick 2, he's taken 1 running back so far.
Well, yeah, I'll be interested to see, when people do these kind of builds, it's nice for us to also to observe and be like, oh, actually, I kind of like what he did there.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And this is something that, again, I pretty much only do whenever I'm on streams is, kind of examine the draft boards like this and look at other people's teams, because whenever I'm drafting normal drafts, I'm just looking at my team, right? I'm not looking at other people's. I'm not looking at the board. I'm just watching the list of names go away.
Right.
There goes Gainwell. Neither of us get a chance to take him this time. You weren't going to anyway, but I may have.
No, right.
All right. One pick away. This guy just keeps pushing it, Jaden Reed. I think he's just pure auto. I don't know why it doesn't just switch over to airplane mode. All right. What you looking at? Wandale.
Wandale. Yeah, we're going to Wandale it. We're Daling.
You're Daling over here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the guy who I like more that I'm pretty sure this guy at the turn would have taken. And I'm going to take Baker over Jordan Love. Because I'm sure that guy, if he was going to take a quarterback too, he would have taken Baker since he has Igbuka. So I'm going to kind of block him on that because I like Baker more than Love. Do you agree with that, liking Baker more than Love?
I do.
Yep. And then now I could double tap with Love, but I don't think I need to. I think I can push it.
I was going to say, like, it is going to start to get pretty thin.
Let me review. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 teams have no quarterbacks, or I'm sorry, 1 quarterback. So yeah, no, I am going to go ahead and do it because team 3, 4, 6, 7, they all are going to pick twice, and they only have 1. You only have 1. You just got your second. Yeah, that was the right time to go ahead and do it. And then now we really don't have to worry about quarterback, either of us. We can add a third late, but no big deal.
I put a little thought into Stroud because I had Nico, and I know I can grab late Texans, Higgins and those, but it's just not a team I'm over. Like, I want to stack a ton of.
And honestly, what if Stroud makes it all the way back around with one of the next 2? That's the time to take him with the 11 or 12. Ideally, the 12, right? Like, if you could push him to the 12, that would be
build stacking everything aside. Are you Shuck over Willis or vice versa?
Shuck. I will be Shuck most of the time. I just really liked what I saw.
Well, honestly, it's crazy to think that since Malik Willis has been in the league now for 3 years, but the Shuck has a larger sample size
and is older
as a starter. Yeah, that too. He's old AF. So right now, my build is I'm going late tight end, no tight end yet.
That's pretty much classic you right there.
That is. But it all depends on build, and then it's just okay.
It does.
I'm gonna do a lot of these drafts. Okay. Just kidding, man.
You'll get it.
Feel like I struck a nerve. Oh boy, man! I wish Chad was in here so I could just I want to, I feel like he'd be a big fan of this build.
I have no doubt. All right. This is going to be an interesting turn right here.
Oh, how are we looking at quarterback when we talked to CJ Stroud right there and Darnold? So I still think we made the right choice, though. Only 1 quarterback went, though, but still, we have a decided advantage over those guys. And we could, if we really wanted to, we could make them pay.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I am going to take a gamble here that this guy will not take Jalen McMillan, and I'm going to try and get both Cooper and McMillan, I think. Actually, let me double check my tight end spot. Let's see. I've got Fannin. I know I have the 4 wide receivers. Yeah, you know what? I think I can push it. And he took
Maybe that was payback for taking Baker.
Honestly, it might have been. Truthfully, it might have been. That's okay. I already have probably too much McMillan. All right, Sadiq, come on down.
Yeah, I knew you'd probably be looking at him. Oh, Kenyon. God, I hope he goes somewhere like a good lead. Should I Stroud or Goddard?
Goddard. Go Kelsey Goddard.
Yeah, that's a strong room, and I know it hurts too.
I think that's a better pick because, again, the fact you took Shuck allowed you to make that pick there.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelsey
And
Goddard, that's a good room.
And let's be honest, you're not going to be able to depend on a lot of spike weeks from Kelsey, probably. I think Kelsey and Goddard together will help even each other out. Hopefully they just don't both do it on the same weeks.
Yeah,
you never know.
Goddard, the spike week king last year, Dallas Goddard. Jeez, that dude, it's like he either scored like 2 touchdowns or nothing. There went Stroud. Oh, is that and 4 quarterbacks for that guy?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Huh. Still only the one running back and one tight end.
Man, I love like you said, it's respect for experimenting and stuff. It's hard for me to endorse that kind of build, but hey, you never know. Maybe it'll work.
You never know. Again, we're just going to see what this running back room ends up being.
Yeah, I mean, maybe need to make a note or something, of like to look at his build and see how it went.
Yeah, for sure. Because Mike Washington as year 2. We'll see. It's way too late to wait on running back for me. I've had so many teams already with Mike Washington as my 5 or 6. So as the 2, I don't know.
Yeah. Man.
All right. So both of us are sitting pretty similar with our builds. You with the 2-5-3-2, me with the 2-4-4-2. That guy at the turn, he has a 2-3-7-0, so he still has not taken a tight end. Oh, Shea Bangalier's home run.
Nice.
Just got the notification.
Strange. Keaton Mitchell, huh?
Can I make a suggestion? Juwan Johnson and be done at tight end. 3 straight tight ends pairs with Shuck.
Yeah, I was looking at just finishing tight end there because I think that we're getting to Hockenson, I guess, is there still, but I could go grab Devon Bailey.
Man, I don't love what I'm gonna do here at wide receiver, but I'm just gonna double tap wide receiver with these 2 and just see how this works out, because this will be wide receiver number 5 and 6 for me. Again, Jerry Jeudy, not great. Could be worse. Pretty much staying away from Diggs right now. Although that's the one that I want to click. I want to click Diggs, but I'll go ahead and add Hunter in. So Jeudy and Hunter.
Yeah. I think I might go quarterback here and just finish it out, and I think it's going to be Geno.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I don't know if Brissett is currently in a contract dispute. He's saying if I'm going to be the starter, I should be paid starter money, and rightfully so. But it's one of those, like, if they go get Ty Simpson, then Jacoby Brissett's leash is. If they have Ty Simpson and Gardner, then Jacoby's leash is very, very short.
I don't blame Jacoby, but at the same time, it's like, man, come on, bro. Like,
hey, he has to try. He
has to try.
And he's right. He's right. He's right. I mean, if he signed as a backup, took over the starting role, and is the starter this year, he should be getting at least like a pay bump.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like I said, you got to try. If you're him, you've got to give it a shot. But it just seems like it's so easy for them to pivot.
Would it be easy for you to check an ADP fall real quick, or an ADP one?
Sure. Hit me.
Kayshon Boutte.
ADP is currently 178.6.
But do you know how it's gone? Like, I just didn't know with the AJ Brown news if it's dropped yet.
Take a look.
There we go. I knew it. because it is like if AJ Brown goes there, Kayshon Boutte is irrelevant. Like there's little point to drafting him.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Other than he moves into the TeSlaa territory, really, honestly, of like best case scenario is he gets a touchdown, maybe 20 or 30 yards, and that's probably all you're going to get. And even then, that's maybe not even 10 points.
Right.
Okay.
Isaac TeSlaa. Hardly know her.
Now you have a chance to do an interesting stack piece here that we talked about in the show tonight. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, you get the opportunity. You going to do it?
Are you talking about Wicks?
No, actually, but that's an interesting one too. I was talking about
Adonai Mitchell. Yeah, like Adonai was at the top of my list, but yeah.
So Wicks, we actually aren't going to talk about Wicks tomorrow either. Let's go with Sampson. Because whenever I pulled the information, Wicks, that was before the trade, so Wicks was not in the top 18 rounds. But I was thinking about throwing Encore a couple once we get to the end tomorrow, like maybe just looking at some of the next couple names, just the names, and then we could just speak on a few of them as kind of like the honorable mentions. And Wicks would be in that, of course.
Yeah, I'd be curious how people evaluate Wicks. I know AJ Brown leaving a ton of targets, but do we believe that Wicks is a better receiver than Hollywood Brown, Adam?
Well, you know how earlier tonight, whenever I was talking about the running backs and how I'd rather take Singleton, he's gone, and I need one more. So Tank Bigsby, come on down. This is the time. This is the time for me to do it because there's not much else there, and I'm not doing the Sean Tucker thing, and I have a hard time clicking Kara as much as I love him.
Wicks was, but man, I just really like Trey Harris a lot. I know that Wicks made.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Now, I just like Trey Harris a lot. I just think he's a better player. And I don't know. But Wicks, I mean, they went out and got him. So it didn't cost them much, but they went out and traded for him. So I'll give them that. But I don't know. Trey Harris is in a better passing offense. So, but better passing quarterback, if that means anything to you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, I'm rocking a 3.553. What about you?
I am currently sitting at a 2.662. Now I know exactly what I am hoping comes back around for my final QB because it's the one that I've been taking time and time again because it's just the perfect final QB. As in a 3 QB build, when you wait late, you know who it is. If he doesn't make it to me, then it's fine. It is what it is. I don't have to have a third QB. And truthfully, for me, I'm actually thinking maybe Shedeur Sanders makes more sense for my team, as I now just realized I've got 3 Browns pieces, and I didn't even really put that together until right now. Sampson, Judy, and Fannin. So I probably should look to take Shedeur Sanders as my QB3. I'm glad I noted that because I don't have any Atlanta pieces. Elijah Surratt.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, what to do? I think I'm going to follow with what we talked about tonight and grab Njoku here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been liking to take some Gunnar Helm, but Njoku as my tight end 3 behind Fannin and Sadiq, that seems pretty nice. It's a very athletic.
It's Browns adjacent.
It's Browns adjacent, yeah. And then, Pat Bryant, come on down. He's a name I like mixing in.
All right. I'll go with this stack piece since I passed on the last one.
Hollywood. You Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant or Flournoy? Which one would you have taken unstacked? Are you thinking?
I guess Flournoy, but it's super close. Pat Bryant might have a little more upside. So yeah, maybe actually I probably would go Pat Bryant, but it's super close.
I mean, I have Sutton, and again, I don't like handcuffing, but it's kind of a bit of a handcuff because if Sutton were to go down, I think Pat Bryant would kind of explode.
Because with Jalen Waddle going there, like Jalen Waddle just basically took over like Troy Franklin, not Pat Bryant. That's not the Pat Bryant role.
Right. Troy Franklin is pretty much done. And maybe not done.
And Pat Bryant flashed last year and he just got hurt. But Sean Payton was a big fan. Speaking of. I didn't mention this news-wise because I don't think it's that big of a deal. Zachariah Branch got arrested the other day, but it ended up being like nothing. I think it was can't remember what it was.
I was going to say I hadn't heard that, but
it wasn't anything crazy. Arrested in Georgia. Misdemeanor charges of obstructing public sidewalks and streets. He was released after posting a $39 bond.
Good thing he had it. Maybe someone cash apped him.
Yeah, right.
$40. Got to get out of jail.
We got a question in the chat.
All right, let me swap over there real quick here. Consider Savion Williams at all with love at all? I hadn't, but that is a very interesting point. I don't really know currently right now where Savion is sitting on their depth chart, but yeah, he's a name that I do think if the right opportunity, that could be interesting. I'll tell you who I have right now. I'm going to go with Shadur, and then let's think about it here. If there's anything else, honestly. No, nothing else jumps out at me. I think I'll do it. I will take your suggestion. You have 7%. All right. Hey, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's add in my first Savion Williams.
Oh, do I go Amari DiMercado?
Appreciate the suggestion, my friend.
I have 8 receivers and 5 running backs. Should I go DiMercado or Cooper Kupp? You know what? We're sticking to the build. We're going Cooper Kupp, going 9.
I would
9-3.
I would have said Cooper Kupp. If you say anyone in the round 20 or Cooper Kupp.
Yep. We'll go with a 3-5-9-3.
Yeah, with you committed to those 5 running backs, so I like it. And you push again. What's Chad's thing? His is what is it? It's 3-5-10-2. I think is what he'd been doing.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
But you're. I mean, I prefer the 3 tight ends. And I really like the 3 tight ends that you have.
It's a nice pop. Yeah, it was the way it felt like. Yeah, like a few streams ago, whenever I pushed tight end, and then I was at the end of a huge run, and that did not work out. And like last time with you and quarterbacks pushed it a little too far. It just every draft you would do so many. Every draft is different. Sometimes you push and you get kind of caught with your pants down. Sometimes you don't.
So here's what he did finished at pick 2: Harvey, Mike Washington Jr., James Conner, and Trey Benson, and that's it for his running backs. 4 of them, and that being the 4 with a 4-4-8-4 build.
Wow.
I just don't see how that's going to be successful. Even, I mean, not that 4-4-8-4 builds couldn't be good. I think they can be, but with that 4 running backs, I just don't see it. But who knows? Who knows? All right. Well, Corey, let's take a look at our teams, and then we will call it a night and pick back up tomorrow afternoon. Let me get Let me get that pulled up here. Completed. The draft just completed, didn't it?
Yeah, I need to make a note about check to see how that like. Wouldn't that be wild if that guy like actually like dominated or something? We're like, did he has a cheat code or something that we didn't know about?
Right. Look, Cory, look, 24. Ugh, I hate it.
It's gonna be staring at you all off season.
Oh, all off season. All right. Let's get back in here. Okay. So for my team, I went with 3-6-8-3. Again, Baker, Love, and Shadur. I love my running backs. Big fan. McCaffrey, JT, Montgomery, Scatterboo, Sampson. You could argue I could have taken 5 as well, right? Because Bigsby could end up being that nothing. But again, we kind of outlined the potential for how he could be a good pick. Tet McMillan, Devonta. Retrospect, knowing how your team turned out, Devonta could have been a good pick for you to take whatever round that was whenever I got
him. You did. I was going to say, I think you took him before me. But.
Yeah. Cortland Sutton, Omar Cooper Jr., which funny, did. I realize now how I had said Omar Cooper Jr. kind of reminded me of Jerry Jeudy, and then now I just looking at their names back to back here, it just hit me.
Yep.
And then Jerry Jeudy, Travis Hunter, Pat Bryant, and Savion Williams. Happy to add him in. I want to do a quick search here and look at what the current Packers wide receiver depth chart is. While I'm looking at that, to round out my team, Fannin, Sadiq, and Njoku, fan of that tight end room. So overall, I like it. I don't have to have Njoku, I don't think. That's also one I could have pushed to the end and just grabbed some random one, or even gone with 2.
I would say I think you kind of needed to do it because Sadiq, there's no guarantee with it being a rookie. And again, what if he goes somewhere like a Baltimore that he's not going to get a lot of volume up front? Like he could be easily taken. But I'm gonna do it again. But if it's Kansas City, then it's gonna be a year before he's relevant. So if you're going to take Kenyon Sadiq before Thursday, I would recommend going 3 tight ends. Now, if it's, if he goes to Miami or actually a very popular spot he's mocked as, I think Tampa too. So that'd be a fun name.
Really
spot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Cory, your team, my friend.
Hurts. I grabbed a quarterback because it was kind of a funky draft when quarterbacks went, but I grabbed Jalen Hurts because, relative to where Caleb Williams went, very happy with that. Shuck and Geno, I'll take that quarterback room any day. Running backs, my goal was to knock out running back as soon as possible, and I did it by pick 87, and I didn't take another one. I love Achane Breece Hall. I just can't help but draft them. I love him. Quinshon. I'm not the biggest Quinshon guy, but I'll take a 10 pick ADP fall. And Manungai, we've talked about him, that we like him, and same with Algier. Very happy with that running back room. JJ, love me some Justin Jefferson. Nico even taking almost nice a 10 pick. Yeah. Like it was a nice spot. So having JJ and Nico, love that. Wandale, again, giving us that floor because I waited on, but then taking a bunch of ceiling guys like Mitchell, Harris, Hollywood, Kyle Williams, and then Elijah Surratt was my only rookie. And if he's in the right spot, a possession receiver, another floor guy, and then Cooper Kupp's going to have spike weeks. Love, and then also waiting till pick 130. Kelsey, Goddard, Juwan Johnson to give me that tight end room again any day of the week. I will take it. So actually, I really like this team. I really like this build. I really like how the board fell for me.
Yeah, I agree. And when you're going to wait for tight ends, to me, I think this is the perfect wait tight end room.
Yep. And I went, if you remember, not you, anybody watching, I went 3. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet and just knock it out. Even, Spence, like when you double tapped quarterback, it was one of those, like, there's a couple other names on the board that I like more, but just based on how we're looking, double tap quarterback, get it out of the way, and so you don't get screwed over later on and bite the bullet, and you feel a lot better at the end of the day.
Yep, absolutely. And by the way, Corey, I looked up the Packers wide receiver room. You know who's there? What former Chief is now in the Packers wide receiver room?
Receiver? I mean, it's not McCole Hardman, is it?
Nope, but it's.
He was last year. He was. I was gonna say he was last year, but
the answer is
he got cut.
Mr. Sky Moore.
Oh, did Sky Moore go there? Yeah. So we traded him to the Niners, and then I forgot. Yeah, I didn't remember Sky Moore going there. Well, good for him. He ended up being a good kick returner for San Fran last year because he's a really bad receiver.
So Savion, him and Bo Melton are essentially right now the 4-5 behind Watson, Golden, and Reed. But we've seen Golden and Reed. Will Reed be injured? Watson be injured? Golden be bad as a rookie? So yeah, I think Savion Williams is a good buying opportunity.
He's kind of a hybrid. He's kind of a hybrid type player too, of a running back receiver. So like they're gonna if they would get him more integrated into the offense. Last year he was a rookie, so this year like they could give him more carries, things like that. Kind of like Jaden Reed's kind of a gadget player. Savion Williams is kind of the same ilk.
Yep, and so appreciate that. Which I'm just going to call you L3G4. All right, appreciate it, my friend. L3G4. That's a Star Wars name right there.
I think it's I think I'm reading it as legalize it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Now I see it.
It's a thinker.
It's a thinker.
It's a thinker.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I see it now. All right. Well, that was super fun. Had a great time tonight. Got one more entry left for this tomorrow afternoon. And I'm ready to talk about these players. And then guess what? After tomorrow, the next time we get together, the NFL draft will have happened and we're going to know a lot more.
I'm so excited. It's like Christmas. Draftmas.
But all right. Well, Corey, anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. I'm ready to go. Let's just get me to Thursday.
Hey, we're almost there. So guys, appreciate y'all. And again, we'll be live tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central. We'll make a post in the morning, and I'll probably have the stream posted soon. So, all right, guys, thank y'all. Have a great night. And remember, until next time, keep drafting. Oh, hey, legalize it. Appreciate it.
Let's go.
L3G4. All right, keep drafting.
All right, see you guys.